proceed out to your right. American Aviation. Here comes another North American product. It's the B-25. That was the B-25. Coming in, P-38. They call it the jug because if you spin the airplane up on its nose, it looked like an old-fashioned milk bottle. But boy, could that airplane take on Kelly Johnson. Clarence Kelly Johnson of the Lockheed Skunk Works. Twin-tail, twin-engine, counter-rotating Allison engines with a muffler system. Now look over your left shoulder. The B-25, and follow this airplane over your devastating to the enemy, a tremendous advantage to the Pacific Fleet, and mark the beginning of the end of the war in the Pacific. Jimmy Doolittle thought the raid was a failure. He will. It was such a tough and reliable aircraft. If a pilot had his engine shot out, he had the choice to either bail out or ride it to the ground. The Jug, as they call it, the P-47 Thunderbolt, had a way of protecting its crew, chase away any of the enemy's fighters. A very rare in-flight enjoyment of the P-38. A very heavy aircraft, but very effective as well. By fighter standards, Diego had to address his buddy George as Mr. President. Because you see, September 2nd, 1944, in that TBM, was the future 41st President of the United States, George Bush. And that is the story. The comic book about the exploits of that very colorful crew led by wild man Rick Pappy Brown. Basically, we're first flying for the Marine Corps. Of the rare P-38 still flying. Twin boom, twin engine aircraft. Second of the P-38 Lightnings. Tested by the famed test pilot and racer Tony LeVere. Designed by Clarence Kelly Johnson of the famed Lockheed Skunk Works, Burbank, California. North America Royce, Merlin engine. Followed by another example of the P-51 with yet that distinctive sound. And fuel or ammunition dumps. Coming back in and strafing with their last bit of bullets before going back to their Allied base. Doing everything they could to be able to end the war quickly. The aircraft in the air will be entertaining us all throughout. If you were at a hostile field, the enemy airport in World War II, you might see this happening to you. After a dogfight, a P-51 coming back in with still some... They launched hundreds of miles farther out to sea than they had planned. The raid on the enemy homeland resulted in very little damage. However, the Emperor and the Admirals had assured their citizens they would be safe on their island home. Doolittle's raid forced a change in the enemy's defensive plan, a tremendous advantage to our Pacific Fleet, and marked the beginning of the end of the war in the Pacific. Doolittle thought the raid was a failure, that he would be court-martialed. Then I'm told it was flown aboard a B-25 to Dayton, Ohio, to be presented by the last raider. Doolittle's co-pilot was the Mustang, P-51 Mustang. It teamed up with the airplane coming in that was based here during World War II, the P-38 Lightning, and teamed up with that third airplane, the big, round, and heavy P-47 Thunderbolt. All had... Yes, in 1942, President Roosevelt announced that America would soon produce 50,000 combat planes a year. Few people believed it. In fact, Vice Marshal Hermann Goering publicly scoffed and headed for German and Japanese targets, and production was still accelerating. President Roosevelt's unbelievable prediction had been exceeded by 50%. The Axis was engaged in the sea of war production. Keep them in the air at great personal cost, no government assistance, volunteer work, many hours of maintenance. Parts are getting scarce. Fuel costs, aviation fuel is extremely high. Some are only to the tune of 8 or 6 or 5 flying in the world. P-38, 10 flying in the world, after thousands and thousands were built. So your enthusiasm will mean a lot to them as we're counting down to Sammy Mason, my pal, Josh Ford. A show for you.
All right, looks like we're about 10 seconds to Sammy's launch here. It's going to be a good show. Sammy's super pumped to be here at Central Coast AirFest. Traded in the Princess with us and upgraded to a new